Anyone who's ever served in the military has probably worked for a zealot, a screamer, a wild man, a badass, a strange agent, or other signature personalities, but have we ever seen any of them accurately portrayed in movies? Well, sometimes. And in some cases, when Hollywood has tackled military topics, they've made it to the place where icons are forged. Here are 12 examples of when movie makers got it absolutely right and then some. Now, normally when I do lists like this, I rank them using the Mooch Tally, which is a proprietary algorithm that uses science to come up with the results. Science. For this list, the variables are actor stud factor, movie accuracy, and movie staying power. And in this case, 9 of them are tied for number 1 with a Mooch Tally of 9.9 out of a possible 10. And the other 3 are a close second with a 9.8. So here are the 3 that tied for second place. Gregory Peck as General Frank Savage in 12 O'Clock High. Peck plays General Frank Savage, a B-17 driver who inherits a dysfunctional and ineffective command in the middle of high-tempo ops. Losses have been high and morale sucks, and Savage's initial attempts to square the unit away are met with stiff resistance. In time, his superior leadership techniques take hold and things improve. Peck does a great job of capturing the nuances surrounding the age-old facts that life is lonely at the top and being in charge is no popularity contest. There's a reason this movie is shown in military leadership courses fleet-wide. John Wayne is Captain Rock Torrey in Harm's Way. Some fans of the Duke may argue that the Green Beret or Sands of Iwo Jima are his signature military roles, but he brings a lot more to the role of Captain Rock Torrey. In Harm's Way was a groundbreaking film in its day and shocking with subplots that tackle themes like adultery and professional misconduct, and still holds up in many respects for how it presents the complexities of Navy life during wartime. In Harm's Way allows Wayne to do more than just swagger. He portrays a leader, and because of that, it's his best military work. Alec Guinness is Lieutenant Colonel Nicholson in Bridge on the River Kwai. Before he was in Star Wars as Obi-Wan Kenobi urging Luke Skywalker to use the Force, Sir Alec Guinness played Lieutenant Colonel Nicholson, the senior-ranking officer among prisoners held by some nasty Japanese troops. Guinness's Nicholson is tough and resourceful and good at messing with his captors, especially when it comes to figuring out ways of keeping the construction of the bridge on the River Kwai from proceeding. His performance is as good a cinematic example as there is for why the British make great allies. And here are the 9 that tied for first place. Jack Nicholson is Colonel Nathan R. Jessup in A Few Good Men. Colonel Jessup is as badass as grunts come, right up to the point where he gets his ass handed to him by a weenie JAG officer. With classic lines like, "I eat breakfast 300 yards from 4,000 Cubans who are trained to kill me, so don't think for 1 second that you can come down here, flash a badge, and make me nervous." And of course,
"You can't handle the truth."
Nicholson's reading of this somewhat psycho colonel is among the best military characters Hollywood has ever created. Steve McQueen as Captain Virgil Hiltz in The Great Escape. Arguably the late Steve McQueen's best work, Captain Hiltz of the Army Air Corps is known around the Stalag as the Cooler King because of all the time he's logged in solitary confinement following his escape attempts. In the climactic scene, he jumps a barbed wire fence on a motorcycle, the only stunt McQueen didn't perform himself in the film, but gets caught up in a second fence and is recaptured. The final scene shows him being thrown back into the cooler, but his attitude indicates that it's only a matter of time before he tries to escape again, because, of course, he's an American fighting man. Robert Duvall is Lieutenant Colonel Bill Kilgore in Apocalypse Now. In a high-budget blockbuster full of stars like Martin Sheen and Marlon Brando, Duvall steals the show with his portrayal of Army Helo Squadron skipper Lieutenant Colonel Bill Kilgore. As Sheen's character Captain Willard muses, Kilgore had that light in his eye. You knew he wasn't going to get so much as a scratch on him in Vietnam. And Kilgore cements his military movie icon status with lines like, "I love the smell of napalm in the morning," and "Charlie, don't surf!" Cue Ride of the Valkyries and go win some hearts and minds. R. Lee Ermey is Gunny Sergeant Hartman in Full Metal Jacket. Before Full Metal Jacket came out in 1987, the pop culture standard for a DI was Sergeant Carter from the TV comedy Gomer Pyle USMC. That changed in a big way with the late, great real-life Marine Ermey's brilliant portrayal of Gunny Hartman. As tough as he is doomed, oops, spoiler alert for any of you maggots who haven't seen this Stanley Kubrick-directed masterpiece. Hartman remains the cinematic boot camp standard by a mile with lines like,
"I said choke yourself. Now lean forward and choke yourself."
"Hoorah, Devil Dog." George C. Scott as General George S. Patton in Patton. Everything the nation knows about General George S. Patton is primarily a function of this movie and George C. Scott's amazing performance in it. Patton presents the general as the flawed genius he was, as brilliant as he was self-destructive and reckless. The opening soliloquy alone is total money.
I want you to remember that no bastard ever won a war by dying for his country. He won it by making the other poor dumb bastard die for his country.
And this line, said during a massive tank battle in North Africa, is a classic.
Almost. You magnificent bastard, I read your book!
Robert De Niro as Staff Sergeant Michael Vronsky in The Deer Hunter. Staff Sergeant Vronsky is ballsy as paws, especially during the Russian roulette scenes. And good luck not yelling hell yeah at the screen when he overpowers his VC captors and escapes. De Niro's performance is moving and feels authentic, and he does the Special Forces community proud, while at the same time showing the sometimes tragic impact of war on a small town. Tom Hanks is Captain John H. Miller in Saving Private Ryan. Saving Private Ryan did much towards dispelling the myth that World War II was somehow cleaner than the wars that followed, and that cinematic reality is made all the more real by Tom Hanks' portrayal of Captain John Miller, a school teacher turned war-weary warfighter who knows the meaning of duty and leads by example. His on-screen sacrifice is truly felt and is a worthy representation of what earned the Greatest Generation that label. Sterling Hayden as General Jack D. Ripper in Dr. Strangelove. This Cold War satirical masterpiece about B-52s gone rogue by the orders of a lunatic wing commander is tuned to perfect pitch by Sterling Hayden's performance as General Jack D. Ripper. From his musings about post-coitus epiphanies to his fears about the commie plot that is fluoridation, Hayden's Ripper is funny enough to scare all of us that he might actually exist and be stationed at Stratcom right now. Jürgen Prochnow as Captain Lieutenant Heinrich Lehmann Willenbrock in Das Boot. The U-boat war was a little explored part of military movies until Das Boot was released in 1981. Jürgen Prochnow does an amazing job playing the captain of the submarine toward the end of the war. The crew is beat down and the Nazi rhetoric has long since rung hollow, but there is still a mission to carry out and a war to survive. Prochnow's character, Lehmann Willenbrock, is as good a leader as military movies have ever created, and his courage, skill, and empathy are timeless. Watch this one and find yourself rooting for the other side. And by the way, Das Boot is best viewed in German with English subtitles. So those are the 12 most iconic military movie roles of all time. Who would be on your list? Let me know in the comments below, but remember, the Mooch Tally is an opinion, it's science. All right, that'll do it for this episode. If you're not already a subscriber, become one so you don't miss anything going forward. And in the meantime, I look forward to talking to you again very soon.